Hey, what's going on everybody? So in today's video, I'm going to show you how to change the fuel filter for your Mercedes-Benz S-Class W220. And so if you've ever had like a misfire, a hard start, a rough idle, then chances are it could be your fuel filter. Also, if you get a check engine light that says, hey, it's your fuel filter, then it's your fuel filter. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to change that. And also, if you've ever had like the rotten egg smell coming from your car after accelerating or going uphill or anything like that, or putting load on the car, then chances are it could be your fuel filter, your catalytic converter. And so the fuel filter is a good place to start. I like to start small and simple and then work my way up. And so, and from personal experience, after changing my fuel filter, the rotten egg smell coming from my car went away. So, you know, it's just a good place to start before you start really investing a lot of money. And another thing I want to talk about, it's the reason I'm wearing this suit, is because I came back from a funeral today, and it was the passing of my dad. And so I just, you know, I have a GoFundMe link set up, and I would really like your support to just help me and my mom out with finances and everything. And I, you know, would appreciate whatever you can give, whatever your heart is telling you to give. I'd really appreciate it. And thank you very much for even listening this far in the video. I know how, you know, tempting it is to just skip to the DIY and get to it. But thank you again for your support and helping out. I'll put the link to the GoFundMe in the description below. And I really appreciate all of your help. And, you know, with that said, let's just jump into it. All right, everybody. So the fuel filter is going to be located just in front of the rear wheel on the driver's side of the car. So once we locate our fuel filter panel, we'll just remove the 3 bolts that you see here. And after that, then we'll just go ahead and slide it back and then down to the left, and then we'll slide it out just like that. And so after that, we can set our panel off to the side, and you'll see our fuel filter off to the right, and our fuel pump will be the long one to the left. Now, important notice. So let's not do anything unwise here.
You got it? You got it, Frank? Frank. Oh. It's ether! It'll explode! You dope! Don't even breathe, you knucklehead!
All right, so this is our fuel filter right here, and you'll see here that you have some screw type clamps, and you'll have the click R type clamps off to the right up there. And this is a 2004 model, and so it came with the screw type clamps. They're not the worm drive clamps, so these are a lot nicer and they won't cut into the hose. And you're going to need a bowl of some sort to catch the fuel, and then you're also going to need some towels for cleanup, and you're also going to need 3 clamps. I'm showing you 2, but you're going to need 3, and you're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver, and that's pretty much it. Also, you're going to need, these are your click R pliers for your click R clamps, and pretty much you're going to use those pliers to disengage and re-engage the clamps. So you can see here, if you do have the screw type clamps, then just go ahead and use a Phillips screwdriver to unscrew them. And if you have the click R types, then you'll just use the pliers to disengage the clamps, and just you can leave them on. So now you can see here that once you have the hoses removed, to go ahead and clamp them right away. And you see the hose that's dripping fuel, that hose clamp right away. I didn't clamp it right away. I thought it was just going to run dry, but it didn't. And you can see that I'm using a door trim tool to remove the hoses. I'll definitely put a link for all of these tools in the description down below, so don't worry. And this hose right here, you want to just clamp off right away. A lot of fuel comes out of that hose right there, so make sure you clamp that one down right away. And then after that, you'll see here that I'm just kind of letting everybody know, like, hey, clamp that hose because it's still dripping. It's not a heavy drip, it's not a gusher, but it does drip. So then after that, we're gonna just unscrew our or I guess our body that holds the fuel filter and the fuel pump together. So you don't need to take that screw all the way out. There's also another skinny hose that you need to remove. And from my experience, I haven't had fuel come out of this hose, but just in case, you might want to pinch it off. So, just have an extra clamp handy. But from my experience, fuel doesn't come out of this hose. So once you remove this hose, then you can remove your fill filter, depending on which order you remove the hoses. So if you remove that hose first, then you would, whichever order you remove the hoses, then your last hose, then you would just remove the fill filter. So here I finally decide to clamp that hose there. So like I was saying, I'll say it again. Make sure you clamp that hose the moment you remove it. Don't think that the fuel will just drain out. It'll stop. Now we can remove our fuel filter, and be careful because there is a lot of fuel still left in that fuel filter, a lot. So make sure that it's over the container, and you can see that's all the dirty fuel from the fuel filter and just the fuel that's spilled, but most of it from the fuel filter, super dirty. And here's the new fuel filter right here, and you see those arrows? So those arrows are going to point toward the rear of the car. So your trunk, your boot, your tail lights, that's where the arrows are going to aim toward. That's where they're going to point. Another way to double check to make sure your fuel filter is installed in the right direction is to look at the hose fittings, because every fitting is a different size. And if it's on backwards, you'll know because the hoses may be too loose on there or they won't fit at all. So that's another way to check to make sure your fuel filter is installed correctly. And from here, we're just going to go ahead and connect all our hoses back together once we have the fuel filter in the sleeve there. And so from here, we want to just get the hoses on as quick as possible. Also, we want to make sure that the hoses are seated all the way up against the fuel filter. We don't want the hoses to, just kind of be on there short or anything like that. So here you can see just getting the hose on there nice and snug, and also just, making sure that the hoses are not still kinked or anything like that. So here, this is the gusher hose, so really make sure that you get the hose connected as fast as possible on that one. And then after that, we'll go ahead and unclamp this final hose. And like I said earlier, depending on what order you install the hoses, it'll just be your last and final hose. So for me, this was the last and final one. Just more comfortable for me, but whatever's comfortable for you, whatever order you install the hose or uninstall. So now we have everything connected, and we're just going to go ahead and tighten all the hose clamps down. Now, don't over tighten the hose clamps because you don't want to start cutting into the hoses. And so you just need the clamp just to be somewhat snug on there. And then also, if you have the click-R type clamps, then you're going to use the same pliers to re-engage the clamps. And then here, we'll just go ahead and tighten our clamp that connects the two bodies together. And again, we don't need that to be super tight, but just enough so that the fuel filter doesn't slide around and that the screw doesn't back out. So now check the hoses to make sure that they're not damaged. You can also add some Armor All hose, protectant on there, hose rejuvenator, if the hoses aren't damaged, just to extend a little bit of life. And, once again, just double check the hoses, make sure that they're not damaged and anything like that. Make sure that they're all going to the right fittings. Everything's connected properly once you have a good connection and everything, go ahead and put that panel back on in reverse order of the way you removed it. So we'll slide it in under the heat shield first, and then we'll just go ahead and slide it into the screw slots and tighten everything down. And once we have everything tightened down, it's important that we prime the fuel filter. So to prime the fuel filter, you'll just turn the key to second 3 times. And then after that, you can start the car and you're good to go. All right, so we've changed our fuel filter. Everything is back in place. Hopefully there's no more hesitation, no more misfiring, no more rotten egg smell, and hopefully you didn't spill too much fuel in the process. And so once again, thank you for watching. Also, thank you again for your support with the GoFundMe link. I will have that link in the description below. Thank you again for all your support. Thank you for listening. Thank you for just being a subscriber, being a member of the channel. I really appreciate it. And yeah, cheers to 10,000 subscribers. So, you know, it's been quite a journey. It's been a lot of ups and downs. And so I'm looking forward to just being with you guys for many, many, many more videos. And thanks again. I really appreciate all your help, all your support. And until the next video, see you guys next time.